I'm using Facebook Music. I'm supposed to be able to do it. All right. We're on, unless they click us off. All right. Now let me just get another one here. Hold on. And that'll be with T-Bone alone.
T-Bone's always alone.
There we go. I think we're still on. We're still good. All right, T-Bone. Tell you. You know, I know that Hal Sparks does all this stuff on his own here with all right, this should work. If you're out there, I know 4 of you are there. Sorry about that. This has to do with the program. We have some copyright issues, though it shouldn't be. Facebook allows me to use their music. I put on their music, and what do you know? They still do it. It might have been the first tune, though. That might have been the problem. But we're back, and that's all that matters. Now I think we're okay. I think it was the first song. So let's turn that down. All right, second upload, right. You know, if at first you... Okay, well, Joey's texting me. All right, let's get everybody in. And we'll wait a second or two, folks. We got 6 people in here, and we'll get some more.
Speak up, Veg.
Hey, how you doing, T-Bone?
Wow. Doing fine. A lot of echo there.
Yeah, I just got it off. It's off now. That was my fault.
Fire the producer.
All right. Veg, are you using a laptop, Veg, or camera from
a laptop?
Can you just tilt it a little bit, another direct to the right or left, so you're in the center? Perfect.
That better?
Yeah, that's great. All right, now people should be.
Sarcastic what?
Yeah.
I
Well,
see sarcastic. I can't see the rest of it. What's it say?
That's good enough.
Sarcastic.
Comment loading.
I like that.
All right, we'll just see who's in here.
That's quite lovely. I like that.
Okay, we got Epi from Scotland. Fantastic.
Hey, Epi.
Kinky, I don't know where you're from, Kinky. Is it West Virginia, perhaps? I'm not sure. We've got people from all over here. This is the amazing thing. We got Kim from Washington. Anthony's from, hopefully, the purple state of Texas.
Tony!
And
How you doing, Ed?
I know Joey's coming in from New Jersey. We got to wait for Joey to get in. There shouldn't be 2 YouTubes open. There should only be 1. And the reason is they probably resumed the other show. Go to this one. You know what? I'm going to lock the other one out if that's the problem. We'll just see.
This camera sucks.
Okay.
David, daggone piece of crap. I used to carry these around on my motorcycle and record events around the area. Then, after I seen all the events, why am I recording this garbage? But I kept them anyway.
Just see.
This camera sucks.
Okay. That's the one I want to watch. And hopefully that is the one that will work.
Where did that come from?
No, that's from my phone. I'm actually checking online to make sure it's working. If I do it on my computer, you'll start hearing it.
Now there's your ringtone right there. People you don't want to talk to, use that one.
All right. I think we have enough people. We have 8 people, so we'll get started. We have to get started anyway. But I do want to update everybody the situation with Dave without getting too deep into it. It looked good about 5 days ago, everybody. My wife spoke with Judy, David's wife, and he was feeling better. He had the idea that perhaps, he might be able to make it this week, but then he had a really bad day a few days ago, and I can't tell you anymore. I have Dave's texts here. I have not spoken with Dave, I'm going to say, in well over a month. I mean, we have actually heard from him. Not even from him before July 23rd. I know that. So it's been a while. So let's just hope Dave gets better. He's going through a lot, and it'll be great to have him back. He'd love to be here tonight. I know that. But, the show does go on, and that's what Dave would want us to do. So we do it. So without any further ado, I'll reintroduce everybody, and everybody knows who's here. But it's great because these are my two favorite channels, and I mean that. And of course, Environmental Coffee House too. I mean, and I've been involved with that online as far as commenting, talking about sarcastic comments and all. But we have Vegematic here. I call him Veg, just so much easier to say. There's Nina. There's Joey in there, and we have T-Bone from Florida. So we have somebody from London, Ontario. Now, are you from the Panhandle at all?
No.
Central?
Yeah, right in Central Florida. I'm 55 miles east of Tampa and 40 some odd miles southeast of Orlando.
Okay. So you're pretty close to that crazy governor of yours, Ron DeSantis.
Oh yeah. I'm further from DeSantis, closer to Mar-a-Lago. You can almost hear the coons howl now from down there. You know, the ones with the leftover military gear surplus and all,
right?
The Oakley glasses and the AR-15s, but we're not going to mention any of that, are we?
We're not yet. We will get to them. And
there isn't a large liberal movement in Florida, T-Bone.
They seem like they're leaving.
Well, I have a lot to say on that part right there. But if you think the music is going to get copyrighted, you ought to hear the shit that will come out of my mouth and get you shut down.
That'll be great. I don't mind.
We might want to leave that one out.
All right.
Just saying.
Well, we are broadcasting over 3 different platforms. And here's the thing. The counter, I mean, I don't know if they have the bugs, figured out right now with Ecamm. This is the platform I'm using. The counter, I believe, is correct for YouTube. I mean, it's correct. But it's not, I don't believe it's counting, it might be counting Twitter. And I've been getting a little bit of a following on Twitter of late, mainly through my obnoxious comments with a lot of foul language. That seems to help, by the way, the F-bomb. I'd say with comedians.
Oh yeah, you got to have them in there to start any conversation on.
Right.
That way you know if you're going to stay there or not. It's like, hey, they dropped a couple F-bombs.
Right.
Let's give them a try.
Right. I write them much better than I speak them. I mean, I use it every day, but it works out better when it's in print, so to speak. And then of course we are also on Facebook, where we do have close to 1,300 members. So in and out, we may get some people flying in. So it's a nice crowd we'll probably have tonight going in and out. So it's no holds barred, and it's just like a WWE thing, so to speak. and what's interesting is,
except we're all on the same side.
Yeah, right. This will be very interesting. Talk about a team here, team effort. But both T-Bones and Veg's channel have this theme, which is to me like a thread of evidence of how we feel about society. Just visually, when you look at T-Bones, and if you don't mind, it's just my interpretation of your channel, T-Bone. It's very vivid. In addition to what he's saying, it's this explosion of colors and animation, and that in itself brings out the tension that we see across this country right now. And I don't know if that was intended or not, but it does it for the viewer. And of course, Veg, it's great that he had sarcastic, on his shirt tonight, because, I mean, as soon as he starts, there's a sarcasm all over the place. And of course, he's got the sounds behind, he's got the audio, and then that wonderful 1970s basement. And I was right, he does have paneling, but as he told me this morning, or this evening, it's actually the real deal. So you said, what is it, three-quarters of an inch thick?
Quarter-inch pine, yeah.
That's the real paneling,
Yeah. Pine from BC, I think. Right. It's old now, so it might have been put there in the 70s. I don't know. I mean, this house is really old.
I'm looking at the wood up above your head right now.
Yeah.
Well, he's neat though. Look at he's got the wires all separated. I guess those are your cords for your keyboard and guitar.
This is where the sausage is made. Sorry, Brian. What was that you said?
So the cords behind you looks like those are the for your instruments, your keyboard, and your
Yeah. I've been collecting them over many years. I've got a bunch of keyboards and bass, and I'm not a guitar player. A little bit of a guitar player,
but
but
the cords are important. I mean, those are pretty ubiquitous as far as. I mean, like the monster cables, I know were big during like the '90s or something. They were good
yeah,
cables. I don't think they
yeah.
make them anymore.
No, probably not.
If you
Uh,
have one, I know I have a couple. They probably still work. It
yeah,
depends on how well
yeah,
they solder
absolutely.
those things. I guess I don't know, but
I
there's
used to have a
something.
guy that would make the chords for me,
Oh,
and
really?
they were really really good.
Wow.
It's I've got actually a whole garage full of musical stuff that I don't really do that much music anymore, and I used to do it all the time. So I've got all this gear that I'm not using. I've got like a 32 channel board, and I've got just lighting, stage lighting, and everything. And I just don't know how to get rid of it, to be quite honest. I guess
Right.
I'm gonna have to take it to an auction house or something. But I'm at the age where I'm tired of collecting stuff. Now I've got to clear it out because, I don't want to leave behind a big pile of stuff that I'm not using. And if somebody else can use it, that's great.
Right.
So, yeah, I've just got to find what I'm doing now is just paring back in my life. And I guess the near-death experience I had last year was kind of a wake-up call and
I
saying, well,
remember.
I remember my departed mother-in-law, her house, and we had to clean it out after she died, and there was like, oh, just boxes and boxes and boxes. It was incredible, the stuff that had collected over her lifetime. She was living alone when she died. Um, And I swore that's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to leave crap behind for other people to deal
Right.
with, you
It's
know?
a big problem leaving crap. It just kind of builds up over the years.
Yeah.
T-Bone. I was talking with Veg prior to the show, and I mentioned this because I see it in you, T-Bone, because you're extremely angry. I said just the visuals from your channel, in itself is an expression. Again, to me, it's not what you think it is, but for me, I see the anger and intensity about what you feel about what's going on in this country. And T-Bone, Veg is interesting because here you have a guy who lives in Canada, a country that is obviously more liberal, more stable politically, I would think, than our country. They don't seem to have as many crazies, but he's an empath and he feels it like we do, and it's making him sick. So when you watch his videos, it has this discussion about people like Ted Cruz and Lauren Boebert, and he talks about whomever, but
Ted
it has
Cruz and
affected him.
Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. The list goes on. They're quality entertainment, but they're a threat to our society. I don't care what their stance is. No matter
Well,
what, they're still a threat to a society. And I think Vez will agree.
That's okay. I love America. I've been, all across just about every state, and I've I'm like, it's 60 miles. It's 60 miles across the border here. It's an hour's drive, and I used to go to the States all the time. And we came from a time where you could walk across the border and show your ID, and they'd let you go through. Or I even gone to borders when I was a kid. They used to close the border at midnight, but you could drive around it. And now it's like crossing the border is a whole different thing. I haven't been to the States in years because of that. passport is required, and there's all these security checks and everything.
Yeah.
I've even heard of people having their laptops looked through, and they demand that you use give them your password for your laptop or your device and everything. And I just got to the point where I'm thinking, it's not worth it. I have a lot of American friends that are very dear to me, and I'm just going, man, I can't deal with that country anymore, because every time there's a mass shooting, every time I hear one of these mental cases like Marjorie Taylor Greene going off on, or Lauren Boebert saying that the church should be in charge of the government, and I mean,
holy shit! I'm working on a video on that now. It's going to be a little mixture of comedy or what have you to go along with it, but God knows. I mean, talking about somebody who really wants to amp it up to be a theocracy, it's beyond me. I mean, this is gaslighting at its finest to be its worst. But Veg, you're not missing nothing down here, not traveling down here. And, well, thank God you're not a female, because if you were, your device is definitely going to be going through. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, again, I've always talked with David about pop culture. I took a pop culture course in college just for fun. And it was funny because probably aside from the language class, it's probably the most interesting class I ever took. And to give you an example of the power of pop culture, just talking with Kevin Wheeler, another Canadian from Kingston, if you would ask Kevin about the shows he watched in the 1970s, he could tell you the names Greg Brady, Marsha Brady, Jethro Bodine, Jethrine Bodine, right?
Yeah.
But the bad part of it is what I'm talking about today, is that people like yourself, Veg, the culture also can work against you, because you do have that part of that culture that's real, meaning the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and all that. And that gets in you, no matter how rational you are. And it becomes like a poison, which is something that, of course, that T-Bone and I, especially T-Bone, because you're in a real tough position in your state.
Yeah, you're in a deep red state.
I'm about as deep can get down here and all, but I take it with a grain of salt and not let it irritate me. Now, my neighborhood, God, my neighbors, man, what lovely people they are. It's an all-Christian neighborhood, a gated community, and we have one Jewish fella here. Hell, he makes more sense than they do. But I asked him one time on his political views and what he thinks, and he told me something. I can't remember per se word for word and all, but what basically he was telling me, he said, don't let it worry you. Don't let it bother you. Worry about what's happening today. Those fools will destroy themselves in any way or predicament for them to take you with them. Okay, that makes sense. But when you're slammed here in the middle of this red state, you have very few options. You start to lose what's left of your sanity, and they're not helping whatsoever. Now, as I say, when I do my videos, mind you, I'm not doing them so dark. I could go darker. YouTube hates me.
It sounds like you're actually contemplating that. How dark can you go?
I'm always plotting.
Right.
I know when I'm gone dark enough, when I start getting these robotic messages sent from YouTube in my email, I pretty much copy and paste the same response. I just can't figure out yet how to visually do to them. But give it time. As I say, coming to YouTube, sorry, I'm going to say it. I have no respect for it. I find it repulsive anymore. But I'll do it until they pull the plug. Let's see what happens.
Right. Well, it's interesting because you were originally from, if you don't mind me saying, you're originally from Virginia, correct?
Matter of fact, I was out south of Richmond, Virginia. Home of the Confederacy. Yahoo! You talking about a lot of disturbing stuff up there? Yeah, they kind of love their monuments and all. I never got that way way we were taught in school, because there was two different versions of the South.
Right.
Well, I didn't realize about the second true version of the South until actually I got away from Virginia and started, seeing it from the outside in. Sort of like what Veg is doing, seeing America from the outside, okay? I had to see that with the South as well. And I'm like, wow, I'm still alive and still here? I'm surprised. I mean, it shocks me every daggone day. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm fortunate enough I just don't have a dark tone of melanoma in my skin that I'm still alive around here.
Right.
I hate to say it, we're racist. That's all there is to it. We're a racist nation.
Well, it's you just look at the history. It's certainly a guarantee, Although it seems as though, like what's happening now in Florida, we're going back to the 1840s. I don't know, Veg, if you've seen the reports where already
1840s, 1740s, more like
1740s. But they, for example, what's happening in the schools, they have banned a lot of books, Dyer Van Frank. But here's the interesting thing my wife had mentioned to me.
The hell was there, man? Bacon's Rebellion 2.0. Right. I mean, come on.
Oddly enough, and I think I know why they banned the Bible. They banned the Bible in the schools because my wife asked me this. Of all things, why would they ban the Bible? I said, I think it's kind of simple. They don't want to have the Quran because obviously if you have one, you have to do the other. So say everybody has a Bible anyway. So there's always something behind it that's going on. And then of course in Florida, the state, I guess last year, a couple of years ago, had voted on, if you were a former felon, but you were, you served your time, you should be able to vote. He or she should be able to vote, especially simple, misdemeanors and things like that.
I used to watch that.
You have to pay all your court costs and everything first, and they just struck everybody off of there because a lot of these people are low income. They go after the
pay their fines. Now they have to, before they can even vote, they have to pay their fine.
And they don't even know that they haven't paid it, though. That's the problem. They're putting the onus on the voter, which is strange. Why are you putting the onus on them? You should tell them ahead of time. But see, we know why they're doing that, right?
Oh, yeah. There's nobody saying they don't want them to vote. That's all there is to it, right there.
And not only that, I think it ties in, as you know, Veg and T-Bone, that there's this whole idea of, people who were voting shouldn't have been voting, that whole Trump thing. So, look, we have 20 people who voted illegally. But the reality is they were most likely African American, and they tried to get them out of there.
What was the one deal with the dead and all? They're saying, the dead voting and all, and they found out they were taken off the list. They weren't even dead. They only found one people. It was like 53 people.
Right.
I'm trying to remember exactly where the article come from, but there was 53 people. When they went to check to see if they were dead, they found out, they're still alive. They were just taken off the list. Only one was dead out of 53. So you got 52. So you got 52. I don't know. Ches Vargas, promoters there that are still alive. But either way, they should have never been on that list to begin with. I think, Greg Palast.
Greg Palast,
Yeah,
Who's he? Who's? I don't know. I plead ignorance.
Actually, you should look him up, Brian. You'd find it very interesting. He is voter integrity, Mr. Voter Integrity.
Okay. Here's a Canadian telling an American. I feel embarrassed.
He's just done his homework.
Right. I have.
He's a journalist. He's a journalist, and he was. He worked in England for a while, but he's an American journalist, and he has examined Crosscheck and some of these other programs that are running, and basically anybody with a Latino name, or like Jackson or something like a black name. There's a felon in California named Randy Jackson, so we're just going to strike that off. And then if people don't find out that they've been thrown off the registration until they show up. And I don't understand why you have to register to vote down there. Basically, once you're in Canada, once you're 18, you pretty much are registered to vote automatically. And, just the games that they play with the electoral politics down there, it blows my mind. It really does. I can't, I don't know how people can not see what's going on, or even you're ruled by a minority. The minority, like what, a third of Americans are idiots. I'm sorry. Probably, I would say maybe a quarter of Canadians are, but a third of anybody that voted for Donald Trump and voted for that outright fascism, and it's getting worse. I see these people. If you ever want a laugh, and just look at these people at a Trump rally where somebody goes and interviews them, and they have not the slightest clue of what's going on in the world, and they have this weird loyalty to Trump for some reason. Whereas most rational people will look at this guy and go, I can't believe that anybody in their right mind would vote for him. But here we are.
Here we are. Well, that's interesting, gentlemen, and I contacted you both prior to the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going. This leads into this topic that I'm going to discuss with everybody. As you may know, I speak with a few Russian people each week. We're talking 3 or 4, and it's private conversations. They can't have anything recorded. I can't even send them a link to anything because it's so dangerous. Because all but one are liberal, and the other one we just talk about literature. But this week, an intellectual woman from, well, I don't even want to say where she's from, very, very intelligent, spoke about a Russian psychologist speaking about Russian society in general and the way people behave, their psyche. And she said that this psychologist would divide people into 4 distinct psyches. And I found it very interesting because I think it can be kind of like a format for understanding what's happening here, because I don't know that it's too much unlike what's happening especially in the red states, but generally across the country. So what I'd like to do is just acquaint you with these first, and then we'll get into this, because both Veg and T-Bone have already said some important commentary that really relates to, why does this person believe this? Why does this person do that? And I think this kind of helps us. It's kind of like, again, not a blueprint, but just a program to kind of look at things. Let me get a better screen here, I hope. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first acquaint you with what this psychologist in Russia says are the 4 types of people, general types of people. And then, guys, I'll have you chime in once I get through showing these here. Okay, I'm going to post these. Christ.
Just to let you know, Brian.
Yes.
One of us didn't do our homework this evening. But
don't worry.
No names.
There's an old Russian saying, "Лень двигатель прогресса," which means laziness is the mover of progress in a way sometimes. Because, for example, when we speak, or in Russian speak, sometimes they eat vowels just like we do, and you say the easiest thing. And we're not always worried about that kind of stuff. So don't worry, because all you have to do is be able to think. That's it. And you guys are thinkers, so it will relate to these 4 types.
Yeah, but that's what gets us in trouble most of the times, because we start thinking and then, well, only speaking to one person here, starts to say the quiet parts out loud.
Right. So, okay, well, that's all right. That could be a problem at some point in time. I don't know.
That's why I do.
Depending on where you go with it.
That way I can edit that nonsense out.
Right. Right. All right. So let me begin by just briefly stating the 4 basic categories. The psychologist talks about what are called animals, and he'll explain about each one, called the animal group. We have what are called zombies. We have demons, and we have angels. So there are 4 basic types in Russian society as he sees it. And one could argue that we might have this too. So just to take a second or two to look at each one briefly, and then I think perhaps we can kind of come to some discussion. So what is an animal? An animal can be intellectual. They don't have to be stupid. They could be downtrodden, somebody living on the street. But their priority is instinct. All they care about every day is dealing with their sexual needs. It's kind of like a Maslow thing: food, drink, etc. So they are essentially not a human being. They don't live a conscious life that thinks about the others. They're thinking about themselves, about their pleasure and survival. Okay, so we have that type of person and how they react to things in society, or don't react. Okay, so that's one type. I don't think that's too difficult. Then we have, and this is the type that we're really going to have to deal with, and that would be called the zombies. And the zombies, they are kind of caught up in culture, like we talk pop culture, and it leads them everywhere. So, for example, Fox News can manipulate the zombies very, very easily because essentially they give up, they lose information. They just get things, it goes in their ears, and then they take it and they believe it. Okay, so you have your zombies. Again, this goes back to that conversation I had about Bill Maher, where he says last night, do the Trumpers really believe it, or do they not believe it, but they just hate us so much? And then, the argument went back and forth. So you have that type of person. And this is the real kicker. And these are the demons, okay? These are the people out there. Again, this is the third group. They are the ones who only care about themselves. They can be extremely intelligent or not, but they use sophisticated forms of oppression over others. They try to manipulate. That could be the Roger Ailes. That could be, I don't want to say Donald Trump is very manipulative, so I don't want to say he's intelligent, but he's intelligent in this sense that he knows how to oppress others. Okay, so these people cause a lot of problems.
Don't say it so.
Okay. And then finally, and I don't have this up here, but the angels, I'm going to go as far as saying, T-Bone and Veg, that the angels are people like us. We are the rational people. We are empaths. Just like I said with Veg, he feels the pain from down here. You would think he shouldn't give a shit about, what happens with Marjorie Taylor Greene, but he feels it. We feel about the planet. If something goes wrong in another state, it matters to all 3 of us. People matter, not property.
Veg, did Brian just call us angels?
Well, that's the Russian psychiatrist, you see.
I've been called an angel in my entire life. Yeah, I think that the nuns that educated me might have a thing to say about that, but I'll take it. Sure.
Well, again, let's use some semantic fiat. So we're going to play around with the word and give it a new meaning. Is that simply because we are rational and we think about the planet as a whole? For example, there are fires all near Moscow. Why should we give a shit? It's happened to Russia, but it's still our planet. Right? And because somebody else gets hurt and we don't, or they get cancer and we don't, doesn't mean we shouldn't care, because we have to put ourselves in their place, because it could be us. It doesn't matter which one gets it, as long as somebody has a problem, that's a problem. And there are some people who are like that. So we're going to call them angels because they really do create the progress, or at least help us hold on to what we have. So hopefully we've defined those 4. Does that sound about right?
I think so. I think it's very similar to in other psychological evaluations. You have your demons, who are psychopaths, your animals, who are hedonists. And,
right.
It's
or you would say the billionaires would be the demons. I mean, they're definitely in that case.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Most of
these are
them.
people that are intelligent enough to know right from wrong and aren't sucked in or anything. But I do not understand how anybody could have $1 billion and sleep at night, knowing just the needs that so many people on the planet are facing. Particularly, you think of people that have made money on oil. How would you justify that as and do these people have children? Do they not realize that by continuing to just have business as usual, that their children are going to be the ones that are choking to death and dying, or it might not even take that long. They're saying 2050 is pretty much the tipping point. Now, by 2050, I would be in my 90s, so it's not going to affect me. It's certainly going to affect younger people. And how could you not have concern for just the future of humanity? Do you hate humans that much that you're just thinking, I'm going to just extract all the wealth that I possibly can, and to hell with everybody else? The planet dies, it doesn't matter, I'll be dead. Well, you might, I mean, hopefully they'll be in hell, but by then it'll be too late. So I don't know. I just can't understand how people can rationalize that anybody should own that much. And I can't think of it as anything else than a disease. It's like these people that hoard stuff and that have their, stuff piled up through their house. You can't move it because they can't bear to throw anything away. I mean, maybe billionaires are the most anal retentive people on the face of the earth. that
Well, it certainly
I,
seems like, again, they're part of that demon group that should know better. I mean, they know better. It's not like they didn't have enough external stimuli coming in to tell them that that's wrong. Like Trump says, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and I could get away with it. So just the fact that he's saying get away with it, he knows it is wrong.
on
There's
some
no
level,
question there.
but he's also a sociopath, so he has no conscience, no emotion. This is they're
No sociopath has a conscience. None.
Yes, psychopaths just don't have any conscience. They don't really feel the same emotions that you or I feel, that a normal human being feels. They become really good at faking it and pretending to be empathetic or pretending to be something they're not, but it's always
Right.
in the service of themselves. What can I get out of this?
Right.
Yeah, that's it's ever been, I guess.
Well, Trump does have qualities of the what we call that demon factor, but he also has that instinctive, I need this, and then that may be his downfall. Whether it's the way he eats, the way he has sex, or whatever. That is an indication that he's instinctive, but he, as you appropriately pointed out, with these wealthy people, that they do know better, and they're psychopaths because they're willing to destroy society for their own benefit, without even thinking about, the consequences. It's absolutely frightening. And then, of course, we've got the people who go along with, like, there are people who cheer people. I remember a student, T-Bone and Veg, and we were talking in business class, and he was talking about Bill Gates. And I think at the time I was teaching, I mentioned to the kids, there was a Forbes list, and Bill Gates had moved from number 1 on the list to number 2. And he did a video on Bill Gates, and he was very angry with Bill Gates. And then all of a sudden he started going to this diatribe. And he's a nice kid, but he was, really not well informed. He was angry with Bill Gates because he gave away money and moved into second place, as if it was some type of, Stanley Cup championship, and he just gave it up. And I tried to explain to him, do you understand the type of money we're talking about here? And he says, no, he earned it. He should be in first place, and he's giving it up. I mean, it seems like we give some type of, mental award to these people because they have this number that's so high up there. Why?
And that's one thing I don't get it. Why is it that here in America we seem to worship these goddamn billionaires? I still don't get it. I don't care what the Kardashians are doing today. I don't care who came from that reality show. Why we keep praising these sociopaths? It's beyond me. Most of the times, it angers me to even discuss it and think about these sick individuals. They don't care about none of us. They only care about their wealth. And they're some of the saddest people, by the way. Okay? If you think they're happy, it's all a charade. I mean, years ago, I did, when I was a teenager, had a person that I met, and I didn't know he was from a wealthy family. I think he took on other people like a project, okay? We became good friends. And I actually got to experience a little bit of time with him. And I'm like, when I found out, I was really upset. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I was really upset because he was doing this as a project, a pet peeve. I was his project at the time. But when I learned later on how he's unloved, no empathy whatsoever. His parents were never there. He had millions. He could do anything he wanted with. I mean, but the thing of it was, I have never in my entire days, even to now, I'm 56 years old, and I have not met anybody more sadder than people with wealth. What do you think they do for entertainment? Well, look around you. That's what they do for entertainment. It's sickening. It's mind how these individuals think. It disgusts me. It should disgust anybody. But,
well, I just think in terms of economics, I always looked at, you look at the world in terms of, well, even in our lives, what we produce in life should at least equal what we take.
Yeah.
Right. And you see the massive amounts that these resources that people take up at these levels, it just can't be sustainable, especially since now we have more billionaires. You have, like 60 billionaires in Russia. That happened very, very quickly. We have them all over. That
should have been the tipping of the scale right there. People should notice.
Well, that's the problem in Russia, is because it was like one or the other. Yeah. They're raping the country.
Your billionaires, your oligarchs, you're right. That's all they're doing is raping the nations for its resources. I mean, the resources that's given to us is free. I mean, between the ocean, the trees, the soil, everything. And they figure out a way to profit off this, and it's given it for free. I'm really upset about what they're doing with the Amazon, and they keep doing with it.
Right.
But what's really upsetting is some people sit back and say, well, I planted a tree in my backyard. The fuck you say? What did that do? What did you do to help? But you won't go to your own community and take and speak your mind and let these people know we've had enough. We can't do this no more. We're done with this. But here in Florida, they cheer it on. They seem to watch it burn to the ground and stand on the ashes and cheer it on.
Well, I know. I don't know if you've been down was it Palm Beach? I was there one time, just in a car, and I felt.
My condolences.
Well, no, I felt so out of place. My father-in-law had this old beaten van, and he was on welfare basically.
You made it through Jacksonville?
Well,
Good
yes.
Man.
Well, actually, I remember one night we stopped at a gas station in Jacksonville, and I don't know what's going on in this, and it was like 1:00 in the morning. But I guess
you definitely don't do that.
Well, I did that in Jacksonville, but I was okay. When we got to Palm Beach, he said, I want to show you the breakers, and we couldn't even get into the breakers just to see it. They wouldn't allow us in. Right. And I saw all the cars there, And then I realized this isn't my type of person here. I'm not dressed for it. The car was different than anybody else's. My wife and I said to him, Dad, get out of here. Just get out of here. We don't need. But he was so impressed. He would see, look, this would be amazing if you could just see this. We don't want to see it.
Yeah,
we don't want to see it.
Look how the wealthy live. I've worked through areas like that. They'll look at you as like, damn filthy biker. I still can't get that out of my head. It's
right.
Like, what the hell did I do to you?
Well, if you ever go to West Palm, West Palm's interesting because it's not like Palm Beach, but it wants to be like Palm Beach. But on one side of the road, you have like the villages, and on the other side, you have basically the trailer parks, and you see how the two sides live, and one stay on one side and one stay on the other,
God.
And
the villages. There's a nutcase job for you right there.
Oh my God! I mean, you could have 60,000 people in each village. You know what I mean?
That's what we need, a Karen on a golf cart telling you how
and people still go there.
Live. Where's your manager? Where the fuck is your goddamn controller?
Right.
That's all I want to know.
By the way, Veg,
I've been there one time, and that was enough for me. I was like, what is with these people? Hey, we're all human beings. Let's talk to each other about, being just that. No. Karen wants to see the daggone manager.
Veg, I was going to ask you, in Canada, I mean, I guess, what is it, like Vancouver is the Miami of Canada or something? I don't know. Where do you go unless you go to the States, where do people go to vacation if they want to, really see nice sights and such?
In Canada?
Right.
You mean like a wealthy kind of vacation?
I don't know.
spot?
I can't really tell you. I think I was told that.
Well, Banff is of course well known. I mean, Banff, Alberta, Whistler, BC, Quebec City is that's the oldest city in North America, and that's worth seeing.
I know a lot of Canadians come down here to New Jersey. You won't believe this, but we have so many Canadians who come down to the Jersey Shore. I mean, and I've seen them down in Florida too, by the way. But I haven't been hanging out. You would probably see it more than anybody, T-Bone. But I've seen it in New Jersey. Canadians come down. They're in there.
No, the stuff I see down here, I don't think I can even discuss it on YouTube.
What are you
Might
seeing?
Be a future video in that nonsense department right there.
Are you in a Trump area, T-Bone, right now, where you live? I mean, if you took your district.
Let me put it to you this way. When they come up for the election time, all right. Here there's a stipulation: no yard signs or anything like that. And the manager here, I happened to see him out one day, and I said, I see a lot of signs and everything up all around. And he goes, yeah, there's quite a few of them. We ain't supposed to have them. I said, well, what about the Trump flags that's flying down the street here? Yeah, I'm going to say something to him. Now, this guy's a retired CIA agent that's down here. So, yeah, he's real fun in the neighborhood, I can tell you that. But he's the one that was flying two Trump flags on his home. It was nothing but a sea of red down here. And I have quite a few friends I talk with and emails from other countries, and they ask, well, how do you deal with it? I said, I don't. I said, that's why I do goddamn YouTube videos to express the rest I'm under being here. I tell you, out of all places that I've traveled to that I found the saddest, Mississippi. Oh my God, it's a hellscape within itself. If you've ever been to Mississippi, you won't forget it. Talk to the people there. I thought Florida had it bad. No. Talk to the people in Mississippi. It's like a third world there. What's that, Veg?
Louisiana too. I found there's a lot of weird things going on down there. They passed
swamp
this
people.
law. And
down in the bayou, been through there too.
A woman pregnant with a fetus that has no head, and she's being forced to deliver the dead fetus because of their abortion law. So,
well, that again ties into what I was saying, Veg. Like, we're going up against so much. You've got these manipulating people, the demons, like the Trumps and all that. Then you've got the zombies who they'll just watch Fox News, and then you've got this other group that they don't even give a shit. They don't do the YouTube videos. They don't vote. How do we as rational human beings expect to win in this fight that we've got to win? How can we win? I'm asking myself that too. Besides vote, I don't know what else to do.
I was taking that was a rhetorical question there.
The Senate is looking good in November.
The Senate is, but I'm worried about Florida because now that Rubio is down in the polls, I'm afraid that DeSantis will pull some Jeb Bush bullshit and try to steal some votes there because he knows it. Between now and November, I wouldn't trust DeSantis with that. But I think she could beat Rubio. But I don't know.
Then you got John Fetterman in Pennsylvania making a total fool of Dr. Oz.
Fetterman's good. I like him.
Enjoyable.
He's himself.
Yeah. He's just a normal guy.
Yeah, Fetterman's a tough guy, and he is what he is. He lives within his own skin. And Oz has made a lot. In fact, I think it's so interesting. I'm just wondering, because I don't trust the Republicans at all. I'm just wondering if they're ready just to get rid of Oz, because I know his commercials have gotten more extreme. They show like African Americans fighting at the 7-Eleven or something.
Oz is doing great at getting rid of himself.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Right now, he's probably lost in the produce aisle at the Wegmans. Leave him there. Don't take him back out. But Fetterman, he could do it without hardly trying. If you want to,
he's got to live first. He's got a heart problem, But you're right.
If you want to put a label on somebody and call them, American, Fetterman. There's American right there.
I agree with you.
Oz, planet he's on.
Yeah, it makes you wonder why Oprah put him on. In fact, if you look at the people Oprah had on, was it who's that guy Dwyer or who? Dr. Phil, right? I didn't watch the show.
Oh God! You know what sucks out of it? You get your Dr. Phil, you get your goddamn Dr. Oz and all, and we didn't even get a car.
Yeah, he didn't get a car. Right. And I think she feels bad about it now because it's exposed what these people are. They're there for themselves. They're like the billionaires without being billionaires. Although I'm sure some of them are quite wealthy. It wouldn't matter to me whether they're billionaires or millionaires.
Bingo. If you want to know what a billionaire is, just keep watching them. They'll go into knowledge like, oh, no, it's just a one-time thing. No, that's how they are. That's how they'll always be.
I think there are a few people who are pretty good, though. I think there are some philanthropic people who are billionaires. Not many, but there could be good ones. But mainly... Mark Cuban, looks like George Soros, because a lot of people are after him, whether it's Putin or Trump and the Republicans. They want to see him, killed.
I can't tell you how many times I've been accused of being paid by George Soros.
Oh, well, you were. I thought you were. Look at that paddling you have. He obviously paid for it.
Be careful, Veg. The price is going down on hunting people. What was that? Bolton's only worth $300,000.
Who, Bolton? You mean the Ambassador Bolton or Michael Bolton?
No.
I don't know. I guess you're Bolton.
Michael Bolton had to do with this.
I don't know. My brain's crazy when I tell you. Michael Bolton.
Holy shit. Now you done made me lose country. What was that? No. Michael Bolton. Fuck's sake. Jesus.
Well, how about Bolton?
I feel like I'm sitting down in a goddamn bar with y'all going, yeah, they're driving.
All right, so my next question is, did you all have Farrah Fawcett put? No, I'm just kidding. No, but John Bolton, my question about Bolton is, he's admitted what, Trump hasn't done and should have done.
Right.
But why, but he just waited. The motherfucker just waited. And what use are you now
He's a coward.
Right.
Straight up being a coward because he don't want to be in the spotlight whatsoever on it. But when he's pressured, what do you know? He'll speak up and say something about it. Like you said, Brian, when the hell's he been on this?
Right.
What? The book deal's not working out, but so good? That's the only thing I've ever seen him is cutting these damn book deals.
Yeah, and he comes off as some kind of hero too.
Burn around him, but to let everything burn to the ground around him. What the hell was that? I have no need for. None of us have a need for them whatsoever. But he was insulted that he only had like a I think it was a $300,000 bounty on his head. That's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at with Veg. I said, Veg, if you said anything, how much bounty you think would be on your, sarcastic head today?
Yeah, we're not worth very much on these channels. You know, if we put all three of our channels together, we'd still be a small channel.
We put all three of our channels. We couldn't make up the fill of dinghy.
You mean we're not big influencers on social media? Oh no.
What do you think?
Am I supposed to say that out loud?
Do you think that we actually are? You kind of mentioned this, T-Bone, but do you think like myself, Veg, and you, T-Bone, we do this just to get the anxiety out of our body from all the crap that's going on? I mean,
no, I think we're just deep down narcissistical people and everything. We just don't want to admit it. Whoops, I said it out loud. But by the way, I love your new green screen, Veg. Way to go!
I'm a big star.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a shame too because we're certainly not going to be in the YouTube. Well, yeah, the YouTube or Google algorithms. We're not going to get there. We don't play the game right.
I've been on with my channel since 2013. If anybody hasn't noticed here lately, I ditched over 700 videos, deleted them. I said, you know what? I got tired of them. Somebody was telling me they're running ads on them. I'm only a small channel. I've lost so many subscribers. I used to have like 380 some subscribers. That ain't much. Now look, I was like 199. I'm like, man, I'm in a dime store section. Right. But that's why now with my
the subscriber thing is really interesting because I have been stuck around 840 subscribers for 2 years, and every time somebody subscribes to me, I lose a couple, and it's consistent over time.
It's a YouTube conspiracy, Veg. I've seen the channel. I said, God damn, Veg is like me. He's not growing.
No, it's they put the brakes on things that they don't deem advertiser friendly. Although I did go on my page and found that you could buy a Vegematic from Kmart or from Walmart rather at $29.95. They put an ad for a Vegematic food chopper.
I remember the Vegematic. Was that the same company that did the Popeil's Pocket Fisherman or something like that? Or
in the States, up here it was a company called K-Tel, and they used to have the
K-Tel, yeah, that's
K-Tel, yeah. Okay. That was fun days.
K-Tel's Vegematic, isn't that amazing? And
did you buy one?
No, I wanted.
It'd be cool. Vegematic brought a Vegematic on the show. You know,
my mom had one of those things for years, man. I thought that was the greatest thing.
Yeah,
kind of screwed up with the Play-Doh, but it was a fun contraption there. But K-Tel, oh my God!
Wasn't the thing that slice and dice the Vegematic?
Slices, dices, purees, it does everything. I have no idea if it works, but it would apparently. There's people who ordered them years ago that still use them, so I don't know. Maybe it was a good product.
Yeah, but set it and forget it.
That's the beginning of the sort of infomercial age,
right?
When they came out with the Pitchman and going here, of course, and it got just ridiculous. And now the television, I mean, in the middle of the night, it's like you look at the listings. It's they're selling this, they're selling that. They're Dr. Ho's miracle cure, and it's.
You ever see that commercial with Prevagen? Like it's this thing that you're supposed to take to make you remember better, and the woman comes on and says, I'm getting older, but I took Prevagen, and I'm with it now. And I've read about Prevagen is that the FDA has been, against them and fought them tooth and nail because they haven't been able to prove anything. And these people believe they'll take a pill to remember better.
Come on, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. You're high as hell. What are you gonna do? It's infomercial time, baby. I'm pretty sure they're selling something that's worthless and you don't need. Well, we had that back in 2016. We elected them.
Right.
I'm ignorant of this stuff because Canada bans advertising on prescription drugs.
Good.
So that's something that I don't really see, even on the American channels.
Why can't we do that here? And that's what gets me. Why can't we do this here?
This is the wild, wild west when it comes to advertising this country.
There's so many of them. There's so many of those advertisements during the day. My mom, she can't hear for nothing, okay? She's got the TV cranked up. I think the neighbors are doing requests and everything, going, yeah, I've already seen this show. But she'll sit there watching, and the infomercials, even on those channels there, I mean, every prescription drug over the counter, I mean, just worthless nonsense all day long. Florida TV here, it should be banned within itself. I mean, it's mind-blowing, the commercials. And then they repeat it. Now, you were talking earlier about zombies? Yeah, you got a lot of them down here. And they're playing these infomercials over and over during the daytime. This is frightening.
Well, like you said, the zombies will definitely want it. And you know what? I'm trying to think now. The animals, if you're giving them, cures for sexual inadequacy and all that kind of stuff, that they go for that or whatever they want. I can see why these things sell.
My dog can't get hard anymore. I need a pill for that.
His tail grew up. Okay. I wanted to show you now, talking about these types of people, and I think I can best illustrate this. I've got just a random, clipping of videos, but they're short from Twitter. So I think what I'll do is I'll show it to you guys, and I am going to have to put the system audio on, so there might be a little bit of echo, but I think we'll try to get through this. I think we'll be okay. All right, so yeah. So first of all, I don't know if you're familiar with. Well, there's a called the Good Liars, and they call people out. I don't know if this is the Good Liars, but there's a guy, I don't know where it is, but he built an ark, and now he charges money. I think it's in Missouri, but let's just check this out. It's kind of unbelievable. But say people go for this stuff, and we've been talking about this kind of thing, and it helps explain a lot. So I hope you'll be able to hear this.
We are here outside the Ark Encounter in Kentucky.
Yeah, they're in Kentucky.
The Ark Encounter in Kentucky. Behind me is a life-size replica of the Ark that Noah himself built. Put one pair of each set of animals on Earth inside, including dinosaurs, we learned today. Let's check it out. Noah, did you bring dinosaurs?
I think you mean the creatures some people call dragons. Dinosaurs are land animals. Of course they came onto the ark.
Of course.
Yes, Father. It's time to open grain store number 17 for the dragons.
Before we go on with this, it certainly sounds like he has a Russian accent.
So you did bring him. I was wondering that myself.
My son said he probably brought juvenile.
Probably brought what? Juvenile dinosaurs? This is what you'd have to do if you're going to eventually breed them. And then I guess some of them are still around.
Okay, so let me go back to our normal screen here. I think that's important because here you had the guy who's obviously like the curator of the Ark. And this guy's playing with him, and it doesn't seem to even realize it. So I guess my question to both of you is, was that guy, the curator, is he for real? Do you think he's buying into this shit? And
no, he's being paid for it. It's his job. And I think probably a lot of these people come home at the end of the day and just shake their heads. I've seen some of that even before, where they have cavemen riding dinosaurs.
Right, but is that any different, Veg, than somebody who believes in the big lie? Right? I mean, it's so absurd. He's having a tough time with that. But there are people like that. I mean, I've seen people like that.
Go put it in fucking Kentucky, please.
You know, we've had Ryan Velez on. He's from Kentucky, brilliant guy, chess player and all. And you know, there are a lot of intelligent people from Kentucky, obviously. But that, but I guess it answers the question that this is more of a manipulator. If this person doesn't know, he does a good job acting the part. But yeah, it's just it's sometimes you just have to ask yourself: is this real or isn't it? Because it's something you almost can't accept. Like, for example, this. You're familiar with this woman here?
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, now she's the one who beat Liz Cheney out in Wyoming. Yeah, I mean, this is what, and she's just batshit. I mean, again, I'm not one who body shames, but she's just as bizarre inwardly as she is, you know, externally. She's just that crazy, you know. We just, you know, where are we getting these people? I'm going to show you another clip. One of your buddies, folks, and this would be Ted. This would be Veg's buddy. Okay. This would be the good liars. I want you to see this. You know, we all know that what Donald Trump said about Ted Cruz's father, accused him of, you know, obviously being part of the JFK murder. So let's check this one out too. Some of these are louder than others. I can't really control the volume on this, so you have to bear with me on this.
Look, I'm here today with a word of hope and a word of encouragement.
Donald Trump said that Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK. He said that Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK. You can read about it in the paper.
Crazy Lee Harvey Oswald having breakfast. Now, Ted never denied that it was his father.
Hey, you can read about it in the paper.
Yeah, you should say it to my dad. That'd be even more dangerous.
Are you saying that Donald Trump is lying?
Watch this. He doesn't know what to say. Here's a guy, you know, graduates first in his class. He gets caught by some guy who's a wise guy, but he made a good point. I mean, again, these are people, and I think maybe I should let you do it, Veg, because you know how much you hate Ted Cruz. But here's a guy. Is he such an actor here, or what?
Yeah, I have absolutely zero respect for Ted Cruz. A disgusting human being. How he could support Trump after, I mean, he was insulting his wife, for God's sakes, and he still sucks up and he's kissing Trump's ass, and I don't get it. I mean, this is the ultimate weakling, and the fact he was spawned in Canada,
right?
Is really
it's your fault, Veg.
We're sending him back. You do realize this.
He was born in Alberta, so that's not that surprising. But yeah, I couldn't understand how he can run for president since he was born in Canada. I thought you had to be born in the U.S.
Well, you're supposed to be. You know, I think it was the first true president of the United States was Martin Van Buren, because according to the Constitution, he is the first president who was born in the United States. But, you know, I don't know what would happen with that. You know, he's not supposed to, because they came out with Arnold Schwarzenegger. If he was to ever have run for president, you know, they were worried about that. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
they want to keep crazy within the states and all, but Ted's the exception there. I mean, nobody likes Ted.
Nobody likes Ted.
Nobody.
I'm going to show you another few of these, folks, because I think that they're hilarious, but they're not funny, because this is the Republican Party. This is what they do. They lie and they cheat. again, I'm not here to pat the Democratic Party on the back, but what we have now is a fascist organization. It is not the Republican Party; it is the Trump Party. And here you have Grassley, Phil Grassley. He's a guy, he's old as the hills, but here's a guy who, didn't vote for the bill that Biden put out, and he's kind of taking credit for like the insulin thing. So let's check this out, because this is just obnoxious how they can just lie right to their constituents.
For the thousands of Iowans who are struggling to pay their insulin, and why can't we do something about that?
$35 cap. And Senator Shaheen from New Hampshire, Senator Collins from Maine are working on a bipartisan bill to do that. It would also include something that's very important, other than just a cap. Because if you just cap it and don't do something with what we call the pharmacy benefit manager, PBMs we call it for short, all they're going to do is shift the price someplace else.
See, now he's just throwing bullshit right there, because the whole point of it is that the Democrats wanted to cap the price of insulin. Okay,
35.
$35. And then he's saying that he does want to cap it, but he didn't vote for it. And then he says, because if we would have done that, it would have made something else more expensive. And he's just talking shit, just saying anything to get out of it. But he's trying to take credit, just like when the first bill that Biden passed came about. Folks got $2,000 or whatever it was. Then they were all starting to take credit for it. And again, this goes back to the original premise, that Bill Maher was talking about last night. Not that Bill Maher has to be the one to say it, but do these people actually know the truth? And it seems like kind of what Veg is saying is that these people know damn well. And he knows damn well because he's smart enough to know. He is a demon. I mean, literally. He's the real demon. As you know, I'm not a religious person at all. The real demons are the ones that they're human beings. The real ghosts are the things we can't put out of our minds.
The demons are amongst us. That's all there is to it. And I'm kind of stunned that those people were sitting there. I mean, look at that audience. My God, that's the saddest TED Talk I've ever seen. I mean, they're buying this up, live stock and barrel, because they don't do any research whatsoever.
Right.
They don't care anymore.
And that's a danger for the country now, because if you have enough of those people, and then the Trumpers know that, then you just start playing the numbers game. And then if you don't have the numbers, you play the Florida game. You say, okay.
It's the manipulation game. They're easy to be manipulated. I mean, go back to it. Look at the audience. Just look at them. I mean, they're hanging on every word. But you've already seen me judgmental here. Half the audience, well, they weren't all there anyway. And these are the ones that are going to be out there voting. That's what the scary part of this. They're going to be the ones out there voting for this stuff, voting against I would say their better wishes on this, and they'll do it relentlessly. I don't get it. I really don't. I mean,
do you think, Veg or T-Bone, that the answer to this might be to humiliate those type of people that are that zombie-like?
That could work. I'm not sure if that would work, or if it would provoke them.
I'm thinking of like T-Bone, like having a whole series of videos just abusing these idiots. Like
it's tempting. It's very tempting.
I live in Florida, and now I'm going to humiliate the people who live here.
The insulin thing is interesting.
I could take a camera and go out all day long and do this, but you know what? It just brings more shame to the state. Now, I'm not saying I love the state, far from it, but come on. I mean, I'm at a loss for words for these people. I really am. I mean, I feel sad for them. I really do. But they really got to do some more research and not stay on Fox News all damn day.
Well, they do.
Right?
The thing that gets me about insulin is Frederick Banting was the inventor of insulin. He's from London, Ontario. They have a Frederick Banting museum here. And he sold the patent for $1 because he didn't want anybody to have to pay outrageous prices for it. And now to see, I mean, Bernie brought a whole bunch of people across the border to buy insulin here. And unbelievable that pharmaceutical companies are just, they are screwing people like right, left, and center. They won't even negotiate. They can't even have negotiations with the government. And even the stuff that was passed recently was a few drugs, like some drugs. But there's got to be it's got to be some government controls on this stuff because people need them, need drugs to live. And when you make it outrageously expensive, that's just there's something about it rubs me the wrong way, particularly with insulin. Like I said,
or worse, Veg, is that not so much even the price. That it's just they don't want to see, meaning the Republicans. I'll just call them the Trumpers because it's just whatever you want to call them, the evils, the demons, whatever. They don't want to see the other side win. I mean, it's as simple as that. That no matter what they do, they're happy to do whatever they have to do, whether it's wrong or not. They don't want to see a win on that other side. And I think that's what scares me the most, is that means that they hate us a lot more than we hate them, which means, I know I'm jumping ahead here, that we may not even be able to get to 2022's election or 2024's election before they start taking the arms out. And just thankfully, Biden's in charge of the Army and the United States National Guard. I'm worried that somebody's going to go rogue. And I'm sorry to say this, T-Bone, but your governor, I'm afraid he's going to go rogue and get his National Guard and decide he's going to put them out and take away the voting machines, or something like that. If Rubio loses.
Isn't DeSantis forming his own little private military down there?
That's the word I've heard so far. T-Bone. That's what he's trying to do. Now, where he succeeds at it, you got me. But I've seen a lot more crazier things that's happened down here. So if I was a gambling man and placed a bet, that he will have some form of it. He kind of has that already. I mean, just put the calling out there for the crazies and everything. Again, you're going to have these crazy...
I think we have one coming up next. I think this is exactly what you're talking about, okay? Now, I don't know if you've seen this. This only takes 20 seconds. So you're going to see a skateboarder riding a rail, and then some guy just decides to pull a gun on him because he doesn't like what he's doing. Here we go. We'll let it run again so you can see it.
Okay.
Telling him to get out of here. And he's not even a law officer. Of course he's going to get out because the guy's got a gun. There's your liberal. Now here comes a Trumper. What the fuck? Honestly. He says, get out of here. What the fuck? That's it. What the fuck? Now, I know that might seem to some people like, oh, that's just whatever. To me, that's fucking sick. That's the kind of guy that's got to be locked up.
That's when stand your ground goes too far right there. I mean, that's not out of the ordinary here in Florida. It's really not. But the thing of it is, and all this, there's been a whole history of how deadly this has gone. Now it's being ramped up even more deadlier. And here now, I'm in Polk County. For some reason, they love the sheriff down here in Polk County. But let the sheriff do his work. Not the privatized, citizens to take and do this nonsense. I mean, you get to the point you're almost afraid to travel around here. Lord knows, I don't even want to be caught on a motorcycle here no more. All you had to do is look at somebody wrong. Next thing you know, you're looking at them and wondering, what is that they got in their hand? Don't hang around to find out. It's it's really dreadful.
I'd really worry. I mean, to be honest, I've been to Florida, but I was hanging out in southern Florida. But I would think the Panhandle must be so much different than the rest of Florida. I mean, I know that Central Florida is different than Southern Florida, but still, there's some like thread of decency, I guess, somewhere. But that Panhandle, that's just like parts of Georgia. That's like Deliverance.
Well, I've only been up in the Panhandle twice. I don't see
twice more than I have. I just pass them through.
I don't see myself doing it for a third time. I'd rather go back to Mississippi than go to there again.
Yeah. Right. So
it's kind of crazy down here, and they think they've got it under wraps. They don't. All right, I wouldn't recommend Florida for anybody. Now, if you got I hate to say it, a suicide quest, come on down. The water's fine. But other than that, we don't need the nonsense here. We got enough of it already. Yeah, I need to start doing more videos on Florida.
Yeah, maybe because it seems to like
get that one extra subscriber that Veg didn't get.
Well, the state.
I'd like to thank Human Love Solidarity for actually subscribing to me, and I saw that and I went, a subscriber? My God, how did that happen? It must be a mistake. But then the next day, I found mysteriously lost to
Veg. If you can get, I assume that a lot of your subscribers have more than one channel. Like some people have, like I know I have like 6 channels.
Yeah.
But I don't use them. I use them for different things and don't use them at all in many cases. But if they all like just switch their channel and subscribe, you could have 4,000 members now, and then just do that. But I don't think you can have more than a few.
Rounding numbers here.
I really like having a small channel.
Yeah.
Because I'm less of a target that way.
Right.
I mean, I've had over the years some really bad threats against me and everything, and I don't take it seriously. They go, you're in the States,
Mm-hmm.
But some of the comments you can get can be really, really hurtful and uncalled for. And I figure if I'm bigger, I'm just more of a target, and I don't really care about that. I care a lot about the people that do watch my videos, that appreciate it. I certainly work really hard at trying to, do as good a job as I can. But if I don't grow, that's fine. I put out one video a week, and it's more of a hobby at this point.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
You live in London, but it can't be that big of a place. If you go to a grocery store in London or a bookstore, does anybody come up to you and say, "Oh my God, you're Veg from the Veg Shop"? Are you popular in London? Never. Nobody's ever come up to you. You're that guy.
Never had that happen.
I only once saw a YouTube guy at a music festival. He's big with talking about music. And he was at a music festival. I told my wife, I said, I think that's that guy. Came up to him and says, yeah. He has like something like 40,000, 100,000. I don't know what it was. But I was just wondering about you because London can't be that big of a place. And I thought, well, maybe you get some kind of following in London or no?
London is that place where that, I'm trying to remember that fellow's name, One Pug Life. Ain't that up around your neck of the woods there, Veg? One Pug Life?
I'm sorry I missed that. I didn't hear it.
One Pug Life. It's some YouTuber. Is he from London?
Oh no, I don't know. Is he from London? I'll have to check it out.
He used to be from London, and you're not missing anything. But he's up in that area. I'm trying to think of where he's now. Inwood. You've heard of Inwood?
No. The city's not that small. It's 380,000 people.
That's pretty big. It's like 10 times as big as
in Canada. Actually, unfortunately, they are developing everywhere around here. The farmland is going and everything. And
Jesus, you're like a metropolis up there.
What's that?
I said you're like a metropolis up there.
Well, it's getting there. It's nothing like Toronto, but a lot of people from Toronto are moving here because the real estate is a little bit cheaper. It's still outrageously overpriced, but And also, we have a pretty large immigrant population. We're taking Afghan immigrants, Ukrainian immigrants, and yeah, I think I think we're probably going to hit 500,000 within the next couple of
Wow.
years. So yeah, it's not a small place anymore. The government here acts like it's a small place. They still think it's a small town, but um,
Well, it's
we're
in
growing.
Ontario, correct?
What's that?
It's London, Ontario. In terms of
Yeah,
Ontario, I mean, it's got to be in the top 10 at 380,000. I mean,
yeah, yeah. I think we're third or fourth,
third or
something like
fourth.
that.
That's still pretty big. Well, I hope you become at least in London. Well, you don't want to be a star, but it'd be kind of cool. I'm going to show you guys another thing too that I think is this is a more positive thing. This guy I liked. He's a former teacher, and he's talking about how to tell the difference between liberals and conservatives. And I was kind of leading in with this when I talked to you guys earlier this evening. So we'll check this out. Let me see if I can get this going.
Tuckers, like you've heard me say many times, I was a teacher for 40 years. I taught a lot of history and government, U.S. history and government. And I found myself challenged by some classes to bring down the explanation of a concept to the lowest possible level so that everybody in the class could understand before we moved forward. I want to do the same thing right here, right now. I live in a very conservative state that can't get the difference between liberals and conservatives. And I'm surrounded by people that need the lowest possible denominator. They need the simplest explanation. And I'm going to call on someone who I consider one of our foremost social philosophers, George Carlin, for his explanation. Conservatives care about profit. They care about property. Liberals care about people. They want to see the benefit to society. Am I being harsh? No, let's look at present situations. Our Republican administration here in Arizona sold vast tracts of Arizona land to the Saudis, including the water rights in the aquifer that's Arizona's emergency water supply, sold to the Saudis, owned by the Saudis. Now, we're in a 1,200-year drought. When the water from the Colorado dries up, the Saudis will be happy to sell us water, our own water, back at a huge profit to them. We sold our future, we sold our children's future for immediate profit. Conservatives. In Texas, the largest refineries are now owned by the Saudis. Port Arthur, the refinery, owned by the Saudis. They'll have complete control over it. Our future again sold. Our children's future again sold. They don't care about people. They care about profits. Insulin. And this one goes to my heart because I have a daughter who's a diabetic and she's a nurse and she pays $1,000 every 2 months for her insulin supplies. That's because the pharmaceutical companies are being allowed by conservatives, Republicans, to gouge the heck out of people. The person who invented insulin was a liberal, and he sold the rights to insulin to the public for $1. That's a liberal. So you have to make up your mind. What do you want? People or profits? And when the water gets sold out from underneath you and you can't afford medical care and you voted Republican, then have the day you deserve.
I thought that was wonderful because I thought it did explain it very clearly. Now, I couldn't do that in school because I'd get in trouble because I'd have some teacher who's a conservative that would get upset with me. But what do you think about that?
Absolute truth. It's absolutely the truth. And as long as people are so ignorant that they're going to vote against their own interest, it's going to keep happening.
That's
because
it right there.
They
That's it
are
right
more
there.
concerned with cultural issues such as abortion or gay rights, and this to them is it's difficult to see society changing for them. They have a hard time accepting that we're moving forward. That they want to go back to the 1950s, and that's never going to happen. We're idiots in the 1950s, comparatively speaking. So he's absolutely right. And we were talking about the discoverer of insulin right there. Sold it for $1. And his greatest wish was that nobody should have to pay that kind of money. When I heard that $2,000 or thousands of dollars a month or whatever, that is absolutely insane for a drug that's over 100, or I guess it's about 100 years old now. And they didn't pay anything for it. The drug companies didn't pay anything for it. And they are allowed to do this. I don't know why there isn't more outrage over this.
Well, I think there is outrage. I just think that the political struggle, again, is you have people like Grassley there. They try to turn this thing around. I know people, I don't know if you have this in your state, T-Bone, but I know conservatives, they'll keep talking about the gasoline prices. Now, they've been going down for around 65 days or so. And I think they're unhappy that they're going down. Like my cousin, he's a Trumper out in Las Vegas, and he kept talking about your dictator there. He's raising the prices of gasoline. It's his fault. Now it's going down. No, I'm serious. I mean, my cousin's stupid, but
how the fuck is he raising the prices? I don't get that.
Well, see, they don't understand. Look, again, it's just that we're on the other side. They hate us. They really hate us.
You said this was your cousin? You said this was your cousin?
He's just the black sheep of the family, but he doesn't make much money. He works as I don't want to say he's a taxi driver, but he's a chauffeur of some sort, and a chauffeur. And
so you won't be seeing him during the holidays, right?
Oh no! It's kind of sad in a way. His health is down. He's on drugs. He had a tough life growing up. He has depression, anxiety. He has everything. But the one thing he thinks about is he hates liberals. And every time he talks to me, he admits, because he's not educated at all, but he takes the talking points from Fox.
That says it right there. He's not educated at all.
Right.
So is he really hating people?
He's locked in.
Or he's just mainly hating himself?
Well, both. He does hate himself for many. But I do want to show you one more, because I do have, just me, my anxiety has to do with knowing these type of people and how violent they're willing to. I really do believe they are at their boiling point, and I am at mine. But I don't go out and take an AR-15. But I want to show you an example, unfortunately, of the type that I'm talking about. So let's, unfortunately, watch somebody like this. Let me see if I can get him on the screen here. Let me just. This guy's going to be a real winner for you, so just bear with it. So here we go.
Well, hey, don't mind me. Just getting ready for my IRS audit. I know this is about to come. Listen, I'm just like you. I've seen what happened to Trump. Yeah, it's go time. Everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Holy shit.
The Democrat Nazis have gone too far. Just look at what they've said in the Senate in the past. Look at all the ammunition the IRS is buying up. Look at the new classification they come out with the MVEs. I fit that description quite nicely. Yeah, if you followed me on my other account, follow me on this one as well. Don't let them shut me up. Every time I come across one of you who have lost your account due to the Democrat Nazis on the Democrat Nazi app, I follow.
There you go. Now that's where it ends right there.
Right.
Hold on. Thankfully it ends. But that's a fear, because these are the people who do shoot up schools and do what they want to do. That, I think, is our near-term future. You know what I mean?
There's only one manifesto way of doing something.
Right. And he's got, of course, if you notice his shirt, it's hard to see because it was backwards, but it said freedom. That's the craziness of it. You shake your head. I mean, that's what your video is like. This is what I'm dealing with.
What's going to happen if Trump is indicted? And because if he's indicted, is there going to be violence? Is there going to be like, I don't know. It's gone so much farther than I ever thought it
Well,
would.
I hope Biden's ready for it. You know, he's better get General Milley together and say, I would assume that they have some plan, because you have to deal with it.
Is it just me, or have you noticed that it seems like the fun dancing place of TikTok has went to shit? That all of them now, the extremists, I would say, are starting to place their ads, I call it ads, videos there. I mean, they took a happy place and turned it into a dungeon of hell. I don't get this. I really don't. Just all the violence, and people just sit back, plod them on.
I thought TikTok was more for, like, I guess it's Instagram. I guess I don't know.
It
6 second
fun,
fun,
happy place.
Right?
Kids just doing
that shit, right?
Having a good old time, and now it's just assholes like this and all. With the AR-15s and the wraparound Oakley's ready to, we're fighting because we don't want to lose our freedom.
Right.
So come on, boys, let's have another convoy.
Right. I think that it's just my opinion that I think Biden probably. I mean, I'm sure the military is preparing for something like this, because I do think there's a possibility. My fear is, again, it goes back to your state, T-Bone, is that if DeSantis decides he wants, as you say, have his own army, because they're not stupid, those people. They know that, Biden has the United States Army at his disposal. But would they go as far as say, okay, what, you bring your National Guard, Joe Biden, President Biden, and I'm going to take my Central Florida Guard.
The real question there, do we want to really witness or see this? Do
we
want to partake in this?
If it happens, though, I want us to win. I don't want us to lose. I think.
How do you shut that insanity down? I mean, how do you divvy up the goddamn sides here? I mean, that's a scary thought.
Right. It's very tough, because, like, look, I live in a very conservative area, even though I'm in a liberal state. And I'm sure, Veg, you can appreciate this. I mean, I got Trumpers with Trump flags and "Don't Tread on Me" flags right down my street.
Oh, really?
But it's a liberal state. Oh, I got one guy. I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't even say it, but I'm saying, like, I live right near the ocean, the bay. Right near Bay people are different than ocean people. Bay people are fishermen, and fishermen in this area, they live like in a cloistered area where there's marshland, and they go fishing every day. And all you see are Trump signs everywhere. And in our area is Jeff Van Drew, who is our congressman. He is a psycho. He was one of the ones who, believe that there's bullshit voting.
There's a difference between being a fisherman and a fisher of men. If you get
right,
what
yeah.
I'm saying.
Well, we've got the bad type here, and they're ready to put the hook in you just like the fish. So this is what we're. I don't know. We keep the bar keeps going lower and lower and lower, and I'm just waiting for them to grab that bar and go for it. And like you say, it's not the monsters.
It's the projection.
We talked about that one time before, though.
They are calling Democrats fascists.
Right.
They are totally turning the story around, and I on some level. They've got to know that what they are doing is fascism, but they accuse the other side of it. It does not matter to those people. I think they do not care about the truth. They don't want to know the truth. They are so upset about, I don't know, transgender bathrooms,
right,
or some of these,
or the browning of America in general.
Yeah.
Oh, here in Florida, remember, don't say gay.
Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Rather than just a modern liberal state,
Yeah,
so
Kinky's right.
I'm fed up.
Time to cut Samson's hair off. That's all I got to say.
Right. Well, I'm just going to say, I think that in general, we always, when I grew up, I heard the expression, the only way to deal with the Russians, you got to show them force. The only way to deal with Stalin is you had to show them force. You had to show Hitler, you had to show them force. That's the only thing they understand. Now, I don't know how you pull that off, as Dave Price used to say, when you have one neighbor here and one neighbor here, they're all different. How do you pull that off? But I'll say this, and this is what I will say. if they do start something and it becomes like a fuse, I want Biden to do something, because you can't let this thing just steamroll. You know, if there's some kind of problem in Florida where he decides he's going to have his own military, then I say, you know what, you can't hold back. And I mean, you'll warn him. You'll say, look, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and you better get up. But if he doesn't, then you have to do it. But at least Trump's not in power right now. He's not the one with the military, and that's the one advantage. And again, maybe this is my fear, my anxiety working on me. But gentlemen, and I mean this sincerely, and I'm usually pretty close to it. I mean, I knew there was going to be a coup. 4 years. You just felt it. I really feel that they have reached the breaking point in their absurdity, whether they're lying or they're not, and they're just crazy. I don't know. I think that there will be some who will do a January 6th thing. And at that point in time, you've got to put that, especially if we win the Senate. Because I can deal with stalemate. I just can't deal with them being in power. And I think if the Senate is won by the Democrats, or they're up by 3, they won't.
That's not saying a whole lot, though.
No, it's not. I mean, but what are you going to do? And by the way, the only reason they win the Congress is because it's gerrymandered.
Yeah, right.
So
there's going to be basically, if the Dems win the Senate and lose Congress, then there's going to be a stalemate. Nothing's going to happen for the next 2 years, and they're going to say, look at Biden, or look at these terrible Dems. They've done absolutely nothing that they said they were going to do, and they've got
the Supreme Court in their pocket too. That's another problem.
That's scary. That is really scary when you have these ideologues on the Supreme Court and appointed for life. If Trump goes to jail, those judges still stay in positions of power, and it's weird that there aren't term limits at least for them, or a retirement age, because you get these crazy people up there that are going to be 90 years old and making these ridiculous right-wing judgments, and they've got more power really than they've got totally undemocratic power. I don't understand how this is going to play out with your Supreme Court. Look at Clarence Thomas and people like that. And what about Ginny Thomas and organizing buses for the January 6th thing? And there's no investigation or anything, because these people are the law.
Right, they are the law. They don't investigate themselves.
There's nobody to hold them accountable.
And by the way, Epi, thank you, Epi, again from Scotland, who, it's 4:30 in the morning. We lost 1 million people. Probably would have only lost 200,000 if it wasn't for the stupidity of Trump. So, when these Republicans say it was so good 2 years ago, oh, was it? Was it really, when we lost 1 million people? So listen, gentlemen, we are coming up on the 11 o'clock hour, which just means it's going to be ending. Unless you have something else to say, I want to just say quickly here, first of all, that I appreciate to no end that both of you came on tonight, and I know you both had a struggle to get. You guys are great, and it's a shame that Dave isn't here. And Dave would have loved to have been here, and I know we all miss Dave, and we all hope that he gets better, because he's going through hell, and he's a wonderful human being. But I do appreciate.
We need to convince Dave to come back at least for at least do one session. I think he would feel a lot better.
I'll see.
Let him know that.
I'll text him that. I think
come on. I mean, it's no secret. I mean, we all suffer from depression. Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, and to a certain point of view, Veg, he could vouch for that as well. I mean, I
think he's afraid that he's going to have to walk off the show, because after 10 minutes he might get that weird out of body anxious feeling, and
we're not here to judge him.
Right.
I mean, if he can make it for 10 minutes, that's 10 minutes he didn't make it. I think once he actually puts his, let's just say, dips his toe back into the water a little bit now, it might invigorate him just a little bit, maybe a little bit. That's got to be better than what he's doing now. I mean, come on.
I'll ask him. I'll ask him. I know it will be a difficult thing, but I will ask him to do that. I know he did get outside of his apartment last week for the first time in a long time. He like 10 minutes. He went to meet his wife at the train station.
That's great, right there. That's 10 minutes. He wouldn't have done it before. Just that little bit of time. I applaud the man.
And by the way, when you see, you've seen Dave so many times on the show, and you've met him on the show.
Yeah.
Dave is, he's exuberant. He's amicable. He loves to speak in public. But for someone to have something like this and not be able to do what he so easily does, that it's...
Next time you see Dave or communicate with him, tell him if he can make it onto the show for at least 10 minutes, hell, I'll ride to Alabama and eat the white gravy he was talking about.
Okay, yeah. I will. We'll see. I will do that. I will do that. I can't make anybody promises because Dave is Dave, and Dave will have to decide. Yeah. But this has been brutal for him, and it's tough. Number one, because he's a good friend of mine, but it's also this where he's on the show. He's part of it. He always. He's well read. He understands American politics. He's a friendly person. He's a person who he's been a journalist. He's been involved in everything. He's lived that life. He's been part of the Woodstock generation. So he's lived the life.
And his background as a journalist really comes through on this show. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was so good, just as so professional and funny at the same time. So if he's watching this, nobody.
I doubt it, but he doesn't watch shows even when he's part of it. But who knows? Maybe he just turned on for a second. I doubt it. Yeah. Though. But it's good that you said that. That's.
But if you're watching, come on back, and nobody's gonna judge you or anything.
There's good people here.
We all love you. We all want you back here, and we've all dealt with similar things. So
that's the good thing, I think. It's bad, but it's good that we've all, we all have our issues, whatever they are. We've had them, and that's why I think it's so.
We're all getting tired of to the point of saying Dave's not here. Okay, we're tired of that. Dave, come back. All right, just for a little while, even. Put you to. And like Veg said, we're not here to judge you. Life will do that on its own.
Right.
Come on. You're talking about a streaming family of love here. Come on, we love you, Dave. Come on back. Even just for a little while.
Maybe I'll take a clip of this. I can take a clip of this. I can do that. Now, on Facebook, on YouTube, as long as you have your settings right, you can take a clip for a few seconds. Like I could take that clip of the last minute, and I can send that to you. So I can do that. I will do that. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, send him the clip and let him know that he is missed. All he has to do is just for a little while, just go through the chats. Mm-hmm. Okay? People always asking for him.
We really want to see him again. And we've been through a lot of the same things. I have, and I'm going to say this right here, I've dealt with clinical depression for a lifetime. I have got it under control because of the medication. I've had some excellent therapy, and it's hard not to be depressed when you look truthfully at what's going on. But there's a way out, and things do get better. So Dave, we want you back. So that's
you mentioned that too, because that's the one thing he did. The last time I spoke with him, I asked him about the things that have been going on the last 2 years, because he was the one who was more optimistic than I was when we started this whole Divided We Stand thing. I was the one who's always saying, they're going to do this, Dave, and then he came to my side, and I said to him, I've noticed your change. You're more pessimistic than I am. This is before, he was starting to get really bad with the depression. And he said something to the effect, because I asked him, do you think that these times in America have had any effect on your depression. He's sure that it had some effect of it, because he's had this before that we had these problems. But I mean, who knows how that actually gets to you? You know, I mean, I don't know how he processes when he sees people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, he makes jokes about it, but you know, we may process what you just saw what I showed 5 minutes ago with that one lunatic. Everybody processes that differently. Now, I don't get.
Maybe that's the way Dave now is trying to process it. Just him not being around. Okay, he's doing it in his own way. I mean, truthfully, maybe the man hasn't found his own, let's say, coping mechanism yet. I think we discussed that in the email. He needs to find that coping mechanism, and you know what? We need to back him. If it's him not coming back to the show, we need to respect that.
Right.
But the main daggone thing is, I don't know how many times people are misunderstood, and then they're left to their own devices within their own head. That's where the trouble starts. Come on, Dave. You got people that love you, all right, that will try to reach out to you in any means, in any way. We love you, man. Come on back to us.
Yeah. We love Dave Price, and I want my friend better. I want him back, but I want him better. And especially at these times. So I thank you for your kind words. And again, I really do appreciate Veg and T-Bone. You guys are great. And I love, I mean, really, aside from watching news and things like that and my Twitter feeds, you and I do watch, I did watch Environmental Coffee House. I do watch that. And I was watching this past week. It was great too, by the way, because it's a great site she put up about drought.
Sandy,
I think it's really these three. I watch more than in Mendham right now, because I used to watch Mendham all the time, but I don't do that much anymore. But it's you three, and it's great because they're all completely different. Sandy's show has got its thing. You know, it's very informative. It's very, logical. Boom, 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 boom. It's great. She handles.
Oh yeah.
Again, yours, T-Bone, you've got like just that whole thing. I notice you're experimenting with like the voiceover things or whatever now. Which I tried to do, by the way, and
you noticed. Well, the thing of it is, I've got a rule. I'll do the audio. I'll do everything the audio first before I do anything. If I don't get it down within 2 takes, that's it for me. I'll put it and shelve it to the side. The Christofascism, that was 11 takes to do that. And
really?
I said, that's enough. That's enough for me.
I bought text to speech, and they shut it down because I guess not a lot of people were using it, and I tried to use it, but it wasn't like picking. This was 5-6 years ago, and it just
it was terrible back then.
I guess it's a lot better now, and so I always find
you'll have better luck. Okay, now. Back then, it's like setting a Tesla off into
I paid a lot of money at the time for it, and it wasn't worth it. And they shut it down. And I had plenty of hours left, and I couldn't use it.
I would pay nothing for that garbage.
So, but I say I do watch yours, and Veg. I mean, it's like going back to in fact, your stories about the 70s. Because that's really me, like the early 70s, and the story.
Free the sea monkeys.
What was it called? Key West and all that kind of stuff. That's just that whole thing, even when you showed your picture of yourself, that was my life. Like I feel like a real connection there. So it's my go-to places, So. I know I'm overdoing this, but I mean it. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. And I love your show. I love Sandy's show. I love T-Bone's show. We're like-minded people, and maybe things are going to get better. Let's.
Well, we've got each other. And by the way, Nina, thank you so much. And we've got to have you on again, Nina. So please,
hi, Nina.
It'd be great to see you. And Nina's from Canada, and I don't know, is she
far from me?
Not far, okay. So if she sees you at the grocery store, she's like, "Oh my God, it's Veg!"
That's possible.
Then you'll know you've hit it big when somebody in London comes up to you and say, "Aren't you the guy?" But if you come down here and you're in a grocery store, because I haven't had anybody say to me anytime ever. So anyway, I'm going to blur us out. I'm going to move up the music, and then I'm going to shut down. But again, have a wonderful evening, gentlemen, and the rest of the weekend. You guys are great. Oh, I'm fading out. Well,
be well, everybody. Have a great
week.
It's
wonderful seeing everybody, and thank you.
Same here.
Oh, that's the end of the song. Okay. Now I can get the end show button if I can find it. Oh, that was a weird ending. Okay, guys. See you.